So the first thing we're going to do today that's new is called factorials. This thing right here we refer to as n factorial. So it's an n with an exclamation point back after it. Basically all that is you are going to multiply all of the whole numbers from 1 to n. So we get 1 times 2 times 3 all the way up to your n value. So these are commonly used in probability. We're going to do something with these next week. So you have that to look forward to. Right now we'll just evaluate a few of them. So if you want to try these on your own, by the way, you're welcome to just pause and give them a try. But I will show you some tricks to do 2 through 4 that'll make them a little bit faster. So number 1 is 3 factorial. Basically, we're just multiplying all the numbers up to 3. So we get 1 times 2 times 3. 3 factorial is going to be 6. Number 2, there are 2 ways to do this problem. One way is pretty long, one way is a little bit shorter. So I'll show you the long way and then I'll show you the shortcut. So 7 factorial is going to be 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6 times 7. 5 factorial we rewrite as 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And then, so that's this right here. 2 factorial is this one right here. We have 2 times 1. So, okay, from here, there are 2 things that you can do to solve it. First thing you can do is take your calculator, multiply everything in the top row out, multiply everything in the bottom row out, and then divide them. The faster way to do this is going to be to cancel out the numbers 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 from both the numerator and the denominator. That makes the problem a lot easier to deal with, especially if you don't have a calculator. You are going to get 42 over 2, and that's just going to give you 21. Even shorter way to do this one, so that's actually, there's 2 methods right there, but an even shorter way to do that one is to, in your denominator, write it as 5 factorial times 2 factorial. You can rewrite the numerator as, if you notice, this 1 through 5, that's the same as 5 factorial. So we can rewrite 7 factorial as 5 factorial times 6 times 7. When you do that, you'll find these 2 5 factorials cancel out. We get the same thing in the end. We get 42 over 2 times 1, which is 2. It's just a nicer way to write it out, especially when you get to really, really high numbers. And when you see things like number 4, you can't really do number 4 without doing that method that I just showed you. So I recommend you pause and try 3 on your own. So for number 3, I'm going to rewrite this numerator as 9 factorial times 10. You'll notice that I didn't take the first thing in the denominator, I actually took the highest number because I know that my 9 factorial can cancel out. Then I'm going to have 5 factorial times 9 factorial down there. These 2 9 factorials cancel out. I get 10 over 5 factorial. So bottom of this fraction is a little bit long, but the top is pretty nice. I get 10 over 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Again, you are welcome to multiply the whole denominator out, or if you want, you actually know that 5 times 2 equals 10, so you can cancel those out with the 10. That's just a shortcut. You don't have to do that shortcut, but my final answer is going to be 1 over 12. By the way, there's a good chance I might give you a quiz that involves multiple choice, and for that one, the choice would probably be the simplified fraction, so just keep that in mind if you decide to do this on your calculator. Okay, number 4, this one's fun. The first thing I want you to notice is that the number n, the thing that comes before n is n minus 1. So if you were to write n factorial, I'm actually going to show you at the up here at the box that I had. If you were to actually write this out completely with just like using a variable n, the thing that would come before n would be n minus 1. And then that's going to be times n. So before n minus 1, by the way, would be n minus 2. So the way that you would write this out to simplify this would be as, so it'd be, I'll show you kind of a longer way, and then I'll show you the shortest way you possibly could. It'd be 1 times 2 times 3. We would go all the way up to n minus 1 times another n. The bottom part would be 1 times 2 times 3, all the way up to, I'm going to say n minus 2 followed by n minus 1. So this numerator actually, the thing that comes before n minus 1 would be n minus 2. I just didn't write it in there. But you can rewrite it. Everything up to here cancels out with everything down to there. You just get n, and that's your answer. Shorter way to write this is just to rewrite the numerator as n minus 1 factorial times n all over n minus 1 factorial. So these ones tend to be the most confusing of these. We'll do a little bit more practice with this. Feel free to email me if you need any clarifications or if you have any questions on that. So for number 5, if you think you know what to do, I actually recommend this. Give it a try, see if you can simplify it, see if you can at least simplify the 4 and the 3. Go ahead and pause the video. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and go over it. If you have no idea what to do, watch carefully. So first of all, I'm going to deal with the 4 and the 3. So 4 factorial, I can rewrite as 3 factorial times 4. The reason I'm going to do that is because I know that because of that, my 3 factorial in the denominator will cancel out. So that part at least is pretty nice. The other part's a little bit trickier. I have n plus 1 factorial. So keep in mind that n plus 1 is the whole number after n. So it's the whole number that comes right after n. For example, if n was 8, n plus 1 would be 9. So you would have, you know that 9 comes after 8. So that's like a more specific example for that. So what we can do for the n plus 1 is we can rewrite that as n factorial times n plus 1. If you're confused about where I got that, I'll show you. So n plus 1 factorial is just going to be 1 times 2 times 3, all the way up to, so we have n minus 1. After n minus 1 comes n. After n comes n plus 1. So actually this whole first part right here, that's my n factorial. Okay, so then bottom of my fraction, I do still have n factorial. So then that's already given to me. I can cancel out my n factorials. I can cancel out my 3 factorials. My final answer is going to be 4 times n plus 1. You can either write it like this, or you can write it as 4n plus 4. Both answers are completely acceptable. So for number 6, we're going to write the first 5 terms of the sequence. And I actually specifically told you to begin with n equals 0. So before you do that, I'm going to give you the special case that we have for factorials. And that special case is if you have 0 factorial, that is always going to be equal to 1. So just keep that in mind. So let's go ahead. We're going to write out the whole thing. If you think you know what to do, which I think you might maybe be able to figure out, go ahead and pause and do it. And then you can just kind of fast forward to the end. Okay, so a0 is going to be negative 1 to the 0 times 2 to the 0. That's going to be over 0 factorial. that will give you, anything to the 0 power is 1, so that just gives you 1. A1, you get negative 1 to the 1 power times 2 to the 1 over 1 factorial. Negative 1 to the first power is negative 1. 2 to the 1 is negative 2. I end up getting, and 1 factorial is just actually just 1. I end up getting negative 2. For A2, I get negative 1 squared times 2 squared all over 2 factorial. That gives me 1 times 4 over 2 times 1. So my final answer for that one is positive 2. A3, you'll notice I'm doing the same idea. A3 is equal to negative 1 to the third times 2 to the third. That's all over 3 factorial. So that gives me negative 1. This is a 3, by the way. Hopefully you can figure that out. Times 8 over 1 times 2 times 3, which gives me 6. I end up getting negative 8 over 6, which simplifies to negative 4/3. So my last one is A4. That is going to be equal to negative 1 to the 4th times 2 to the 4th over 4 factorial, which gives me 1 times 16. 4 factorial is 1 times 2 times 3 times 4. I end up getting 16 over 24, which if you simplify is going to give you 2/3. So if you're just doing your homework, you can actually write your answer just the way that we have here, but I'm actually going to write out the full answer. I get 1, negative 2, 2, negative 4/3, followed by 2/3.